Desert Diaries. Hello. Arizona calling and oof, I'm tired. No, strike that. I am exhausted. I really don't know where to begin. Living in America this week, being in Arizona this week, has felt stressful. Firstly, I should point out that as I speak to you, there is still no answer as to who is the next president of the United States. But of course, by the time you hear this, that may well have changed. Or not. Or it will have been announced and challenged and may change. Or not. And you really do get the picture. Now, let's not forget that when we spoke last week, I said I thought this would happen, that it would take several days for the next president to be announced, that the current president could well challenge the veracity of mail-in ballots, and yet, even though it has all played out as so many people predicted, the reality feels protracted and painful. Even though last week I did talk about there being potential protests and unrest and legal challenges, the fact that those things are happening, again, feels horrible. Now, I know spending most of Wednesday sitting in my vocal booth talking to radio stations across Britain about Arizona and the election probably didn't help at what's happening at arm's length for me. But again, this just feels really intense. Now, on the surface, I can imagine you might see what's happening here in America as one half of the country screaming, voter fraud, and the other half screaming, how can you vote for that monster? But in reality, whilst those two groups of people do absolutely exist, they are just a tiny, teeny portion of the population. Again, down to certain news media, it's very easy to imagine that every single Democrat wants to defund the police and smash up town centres and hike up taxes and socialise healthcare. Much like it's easy to imagine that every supporter of Donald Trump is a gun-toting, horrible xenophobe, obsessed only with the money in their pocket and not the welfare of other people. But again, that's just not true. It's not at all true. Again, yes, there are people who exist in America who are like that on both political extremes, but most people are just people. They love their families. They want to work hard and have a nice life, go on holiday, respect their neighbours. They're kind people. Most people I know voted one way or another, not because they subscribe to any of the extreme views of any supporters of their political party, but because when they had to think about what mattered to them in their life, one or other of the two parties ticked more boxes than the other. I've got some good friends, actually, who are married. He voted Republican, she voted Democrat. They've got pretty much the same worldview. When they considered the party who best represented them, for him, the Republican Party ticked 6 out of the 10 boxes. For her, the Democratic Party again ticked 6 out of the 10 boxes, and they voted accordingly. That's it. They don't have warring opinions. This week, I've, for the first time actually, been subject to some trolling. People telling me to shut up, go home, that I should be grateful to be here, that I don't have the right to an opinion. That doesn't feel very nice. Of course it doesn't. But I've also, even outside of my immediate friendship group, had people telling me that's nonsense. America is a country built on immigration, and a central tenet of the culture here is freedom of speech. And that's the America that I love. It's very easy to see division right now. People are angry, upset, confused. Forget me being an immigrant. There was even an outpouring of fury from some locals at early reports that the state of Arizona was flipping blue, flipping towards Joe Biden after being Republican for more than 50 years, apart from once in the 90s when it turned blue for Bill Clinton. It's all those people who've moved here from California who've made this happen, said a load of comments actually on social media, all said similar things. They've come here and they're going to ruin the state for real Arizonans. And yeah, it's true. Phoenix especially is a place where lots of people move to. Actually, quite a small proportion of people are originally from here. But that's like all great cities, right? London, New York, Manchester, they're full of people who've made those great places their home from not just all over the country, but all over the world. But I know people are angry and they're upset, but it doesn't feel very United States of America right now. Arizona, of course, has been under such scrutiny, and I don't know, as I said, at the moment, whether it will flip from red to blue, but maybe by the time you'll hear this, you will know. But it isn't just a case of people having different opinions about the facts. It's the case that some people utterly believe some things to be true, to be the facts, in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. As my friend brilliantly put it, some Americans are living in a reality distortion field right now. And as I've said, the partisan news media certainly helps those beliefs bump along nicely. Oof. But we march on. And thank goodness for children and dogs and roast potatoes, which I've enjoyed this week with proper gravy that arrived courtesy of my friend Holly. There's still so much that unites us, more than divides us. Sometimes you just got to look a bit harder. In other news, I haven't worn socks all week, so at least some things feel normal right now. I'll see you in the desert.